has been fishing for, well, a long time. How's that? and you know, that reminds me, fishing, sport fishing, is really the only sport that you could say you've been fishing for 60, 70, 80, 90 years. What other sport can you say you've participated in for 90 years? And Daryl, it hasn't been 90 years for you. That's not what I'm getting at. But there is no other participatory sport where you can really enjoy from the time you're a toddler until the time that you get scooped up by the big landing net in the sky. But Daryl has been doing this for a long time and doing it, you know, as good and better as anyone else. He's been a fishing guide, a fishing educator, book author, writer. He also has 40 top 10 finishes on the professional walleye trail, on the various professional walleye trail tournaments. I mean, that's outstanding. But fishing prowess, catching big fish, is not necessarily what induction is about. It is about the legacy you've left. It's much more than just catching a big fish a couple times in your life. It's about that significant and lasting contribution that you've made to the sport. Daryl is known as the Jigmeister. So you're pretty good at this, right? You know, and that's the way, if you want to catch fish, that's the way you fish. There's a reason why jigs are in pilot survival kits. There's a reason for that, because it's effective. Throughout Daryl's career, he's served on national pro staffs as well as many corporate and nonprofit boards, often as an officer and as a director in an advisory position. Daryl has just informed me that he's retired from competitive fishing, not even guiding too much anymore, but he's still fishing and going to be fishing for a long, long time. Daryl, I think it's time. Welcome to the Fishing Hall of Fame as an inductee. You're now part of that group of that 500, the Ted Williams, the Kurt Gowdies, the Isaac Waltons of the world. Welcome aboard, Daryl.
Wow. Thank you, Executive Director Emmett Brown. I know this may shock a lot of you that have followed me in my career. I never use a script. But they said I only had a limited amount of time, and they've heard me do seminars before, and they kind of go along. So I'm going to run through this pretty quick. And thanks to all of you, and this is why I don't do a script, including my family and friends who have come to Milwaukee today to share this extraordinary honor with me. There are hundreds as well that in some way, shape, or form have influenced my successful career path into fishing over the past 70 years, who couldn't be with us today. Many, too many I'm afraid, are no longer with us on this earth. In a moment, I will mention some of these men and women and share a few stories, but before I do, I want to give all the glory and honor for my amazing life and for this incredible day to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I am a firm believer that if we honor Him in all things first, He will order our steps through life. One of my heroes, President Theodore Roosevelt, who by the way is in the Fishing Hall of Fame, wrote an amazing book titled Trust God, Then Do Your Own Part. It's a fascinating book and one that every one of us should read before we die. In a nutshell, Roosevelt urges the reader to trust in God, but then get out there and use the passion, gifting, and skill that He gave you to accomplish amazing things for others. I'm acquainted with well over 120 people who are in the Fishing Hall of Fame. Some of them I worked with during my years as an outdoor writer. Others I've competed against in tournaments or shared countless seminar stages at venues across the country. Still others were or are close friends. These men and women all deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, but none of them, not one, would have gotten voted in had they not been nominated by someone who believed in them in the first place. I was nominated by outdoor writer and guide Joel Coons. Joel, are you here? He wasn't sure if he could make it or not today. Joel? No? Well, if you are, stand up and wave or yell or, okay. Joel and I go back a long ways and have been involved in several ventures over the years. My favorite was catching bass in the water hazards at the Sticks and Stones Celebrity Charity Golf Tournament in Sturgeon Bay. How many people get to do that? That is some great bass fishing, by the way, because they don't actually allow it. So we fished this tournament during the monsoon with the Green Bay Packer players who thought we were crazy. We were. Joel called, emailed, texted, and begged me for information to submit to the hall. Thank you, Joel. So if you have in mind anyone for the Hall of Fame, nominate them. That's the first step. It doesn't matter how good they are or what they've done. If they don't get nominated, they can't get in. Again, Joel, thank you. I know we have a few Hall of Famers with us today. Looking around to the audience. If you're in the Fishing Hall of Fame, raise your hand. All right, if you want to be in the Fishing Hall of Fame, raise your hand. There we go. Well, one, of course, is Mike Norris. The other was Jim Grant, who couldn't be with us today, unfortunately. How about Dan Small? Are you around here somewhere? Dan was a big help in encouraging and writing letters to the Hall of Fame on my behalf. A great guy. At this time, I'd like to introduce my biggest fan and hero. She is my secretary, travel agent, promotions manager, financier, booking agent, project manager, troubleshooter, traveling companion, tailor, barber, spiritual advisor, psychiatrist, nightcrawler bedding squeezer, sweetheart, wife, and partner for 55 years, my wife Sherry. There is no way I would be standing here today without her support and her help all those years. My sister Kay is here. and her daughter and her husband. Thank you for coming. Stand up and wave. We got time. Yes. The rest of you guys stay seated. My kids, Steve and Al and Sean. My grandkids, Reese, James, Reese, Joey, and Eliana. James was sick this morning. Stand up, you guys. Show them that. See, these guys fish too. They fish, but they mainly eat fish when they come to visit. My mom, who's 96 years old, couldn't make the trip today, but I know she's sent me a text and she's very excited about this. She was one of the first people that took me fishing. I was born and raised on the Fox River. Started fishing when I was 4 or 5 years old. I don't remember my first fish, but I do remember my first walleye. I was 5 years old and caught it on a bucktail streamer fly made by my dad using a cane pole rigged with 10 feet of braided nylon line and 3 feet of catgut. That fish hooked me for life. My grandfather Jack Wheaton and my dad were my early mentors. Grandpa Jack was a great fisherman and could handle a fly rod like Van Gogh handles a paintbrush. My dad took me with him when he could, but I did most of my early fishing with friends or by myself. I loved to fish and hoped and prayed that I would someday make a living doing it. For some reason, catching fish became really easy for me, and living on the river helped me fine-tune my jig fishing to a whole new level. I fished every day until my teen years, and then life got in the way. You know, school, 4-letter word, jobs, girls, Uncle Sam, marriage, kids, and a fishing bum killer named responsibility. I still fished when I could and devoured books and fishing shows. I was so jealous of the fishing show guys, especially Alan Ron Linder, Bill Dance, and Roland Martin. It's funny, because 20 years later, I found myself not only fishing with those guys, but becoming close friends. Al Lindner, Roland Martin, and Jim Kalkofen, all Hall of Famers, taught me the ropes and what it takes to be a professional fisherman. What I learned was that it was more, much more, than just being good at catching fish. And Bill Dance intervened for me during a sticky contract negotiation that made a huge difference in my career. You haven't lived until you shared a boat with Bill Dance, or out of the boat with Bill Dance. I mean, it's just hilarious. The guy is different. Guiding was hard work, but it meant I was fishing every day. 36 years of tournament fishing was a whole different dimension. I had great sponsors like Mercury Marine, Tracker Boats, thank you Jackie, Bass Pro, thank you Johnny Morris, Dodge Trucks, and 39 other sponsors. All were important pieces of the tournament fishing puzzle. I won enough money to make a living and met hundreds of thousands of people who wished they were doing what I was doing. Being inducted into the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame is a dream far beyond my wildest expectations. I seriously can't find the words to even begin to describe how I feel. Somehow grateful, honored, and humbled don't seem to be enough. But they are good words and true words, and I suppose they will have to do. Perhaps overwhelmed would be more like it. I will close with the words of two of my favorite writers and fellow Fishing Hall of Famers. There is nothing noble about being superior to your fellow man. True nobility is being superior to your former self. That was Ernest Hemingway. Many men go fishing, and women, their entire lives without knowing it isn't fish they are after. Henry David Thoreau. The rest of this afternoon I will be at the Hall of Fame booth, right there, to sign any autographs, share stories, and visit with anyone interested. Thank you.